And so I think at one end, it's nice that we do things for the employees that are nice things to have: fruit, yoga, sport, massages, whatever you choose to have. I do worry that sometimes when people are bringing in psychological safety programs, psychological support programs, wellbeing programs, that they are very individually targeted and kind of missing the point that really an individual can look after many elements for themselves when it comes to their personal well-being or their personal health, whether that's mental or physical. But what we would like organisations to be doing is looking at themselves really in the environment that they're creating for their employees. And I think Tony Lamontagne's framing of some of this is really important when he basically says, you know, to paraphrase him, you kind of got to address the negative before you bring in the positive. So all those little individualised things that organisations are doing are kind of the nice to have, positive to have, but they can actually be somewhat harmful or negative in an environment where you're not really tackling the core issues and stresses within the organisation. And so, you know, ideally we would like that balance to be looking at the organisation itself, the team environment, and then the individual, rather than putting all the obligation on the individual to avail themselves of the offering and somehow make themselves happy in that context.
Yeah, I've made that comment before on this show and on LinkedIn that, you know, it's not the employer's obligation to make sure that individual employees are, you know, having high levels of well-being and caring for their mental health or mental illness, but it is their role to make sure that the workplace isn't creating a place where someone is going to become ill because of the experience of work or how work is designed or mismanaged.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. But I think the challenge is, if you actually go back to the literature that we collectively draw on, you know, Journal of Applied Psychology, Leadership Quarterly, whatever it might be, we're still seeing that a lot of the interventions, you know, despite the rhetoric around sort of meso, macro, etc., they're still very individualized approaches. And I'm not sure how we get that language, you know, the research agenda, the workplaces and the people doing the implementation to really lift themselves up one level. It's kind of easy to keep coming down to the individual.